the stalwart at all these things. You get up early.
Yeah, I did.
You thought there was going to be a hot mic issue? Oh. Gotta get up early.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First, I'd like to introduce the proxy committee. Bradley Taylor, chair. I'd like y'all to stand. Sam Bach and John Marcoux. I'd like to introduce our tellers committee. Tom Seals is chair, but he's not present today, so Jonathan Merriam is offered to be our chair, and Joe Albright. Thank you. Article 2, Section 4 of the Constitution of the National Law Jersey Incorporated provides that at all meetings, 1/10 of the voting members, as reflected by the membership records of the corporation, on the record date shall be constituted a quorum. On May 1st, 2026, the membership of National Law Jersey was 917 voting members. 1/10 of 917 would be 92. Therefore, officers and directors can be elected and business transacted with 92 members present in person or by proxy, or by ballot or proxy. I would call for a report on the quorum of chairman of Tellers Committee.
117 eligible members have voted by ballot or proxy or both. Therefore, at least 1/10 of the eligible members are present in person or by proxy or ballot.
I declare a quorum is present and business can be conducted. I would ask for the approval of the minutes of the 67th annual meeting held in Embassy Suites, Coldstream in Lexington, Kentucky on June 27, 2025. The minutes of the meeting can be read at this time, or a motion to approve the minutes is in order.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approve no, or disapprove no. I want to introduce the NAJ Board of Directors. If you guys don't mind standing when I call your name. Joe Albright from Ohio. Sam Bach from Ohio. Alan Chitman from New York. Ralph Fredericks from Texas. Jonathan Merriam from California. Cornell Kasperger from California. He's in the back. John Marcoux from Illinois. Tom Seals is not present with us today, and Bradley Taylor from Mississippi. Thank you. Next, I will call on Neil for the introduction of former NAJ directors and guests.
Thank you, Corey, and I would just mention, normally at this time there's several special guests present today that we would introduce at this point, but if you're a former employee or someone who played a significant role that is on the agenda program in the celebration, we will try to introduce you properly then. So at this time, I would like to ask any former NAJ directors who are present to please stand. I think we have a few here. Yes, sir. Kind of the who's who over there. Starting with Mr. Cal Graver in front here, and Walter Owens to his right, my left, and in the back there is Jimmy Hufford from Virginia. I think there's a few more on the way that are not in the room at the present time. Maybe we'll get to hear from them later. So thank you, gentlemen, for your continued support and involvement of National Law Jersey and our efforts.
I would like to thank all for attending the NAJ meeting. This is a special year because we are celebrating 50 years today. Equity has been the major driver for the expansion of the Jersey breed over the past 50 years. It's highlighted by superior quality of Jersey milk and the increased yield of cheese and other manufactured products of Jersey milk. Our milk price this spring has been stronger in the southeast than anticipated last fall. This is due to higher Class 4 prices this spring that drove Class 1 federal water prices higher. Non-fat dry milk has positively impacted milk prices for the past few months. It cannot be overstated that non-fat prices have pushed the federal order Class 5 price to the point that Class 5 price is over $5 a hundredweight higher than Class 3 prices. Going back to the higher of Class 3 or Class 4 that was changed in the federal water marketing hearings that NAJ was very involved in and pushed for, has changed the result in the pay prices for our markets that no one anticipated just a few months ago. Our NAJ board still has work to do, with many goals in mind to be accomplished. We have several federal orders that do not yet get paid on multiple component pricing. From April 25 to April 2026 in the southeast, butterfat production increased by 3.2% and protein production increased by 3.6%. As these solids increase, southeast federal orders are not being compensated for the extra protein. As Jersey milk producers, we produce highest quality milk that is available, and as a processor, we have customers comment on how, in relation to store brand milk, our Jersey milk has a better flavor profile, but more digestibility and overall richness. As an organization, we need to stay focused on promoting the high quality component of Jersey milk and how to improve access to it. Thank you. And next is Vicky.
Good morning. It does. A little more caffeine. It is after 9 at home, so we gotta be awake, right? Okay, good morning. This morning we'll be presenting the 2025 financial statements for National All Jersey and its subsidiary, All Jersey Sales Corporation, Jersey Marketing Service. The financial information was prepared by our certified public accounting firm, Eisner Amber. It's contained in the annual reports distributed this morning, as well as on the U.S. Jersey website. Your organization received a review for fiscal year ending 2025. Review includes applying analytical procedures to management's financial data and making inquiries of U.S. Jersey management. The review is slightly less in scope than an audit, but provides assurance the financial statements are presented in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States. The auditor's review letter states that our organization has reported the financial statements for National All Jersey and subsidiary free of material misstatement as of December 31, 2025. The information for year ended 25 is National All Jersey Inc. operating revenues $556,775, operating expenditures $471,328. Net income from operations before other income and expenses, $85,447. All Jersey Sales Corporation operating revenue, $219,802, and operating expenditures of $124,258. Net income from operations for All Jersey Sales Corp, $95,544. Combined net income from operations for both organizations, $180,991. Total combined net assets as of December 31, $2,081,385. Net assets include marketable securities at market value of $848,816. The organization's reported net realized gains and unrealized gains totaled $56,309 And total net income combined for all, both organizations and all income, $237,300. Your combined sources of revenue for 25, equity revenue attributed 66% of that, private treaty sales 23%, public sales 3%, and other 8%. Equity revenue reported into 2025 was $516,717. Members have invested over $20 million in equity programs since inception in 1976. Jersey Marketing Service marketed 1,990 lots of cows or embryos. Sorry, I'm a little pun here. And that was an average price of $2,123 in 2025. Following the strong financial year for National Jersey, the Board of Directors designated $50,000 from the 2025 net income for future research and development projects. This reinforces its continued commitment to the dairy industry and the future of the Jersey cow. As we celebrate 50 years of equity this week, we are reminded of the vital role and lasting impact this program has had on the vitality of the U.S. Jersey organizations. We are indebted to the leaders that had the foresight to recognize the importance of milk marketing, and we are thankful for the NAJ membership that continues to recognize and support the value of the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. Next we'll have the report from General Manager, Greg.
I'm usually one of the tallest people in the room, so I've done that before. But, so as we look back at 2025, this is my first year here. Been here for 14 months now, or 15 months, and it's been pretty cool. Something that I've learned an awful lot of stuff. But, as far as, you know, as we track the dairy industry, as I work with markets, and I say government relations, and then apparently government relations has kind of a negative connotation, so now I say government relations, not government affairs, so it's negative connotation, so.
We get it.
Yeah, sorry. That would be better than mine. Anyhow, so we saw new federal orders come through. We saw them come through back in June, changed quite a few different December. And we've seen what is more of a, we'll call it a fair reflection of our protein content. We've seen what maybe isn't quite as fair as our the make allowances. Some of those calculations can be a little bit different as we go forward. Recently, the USDA said, "Hey, we're gonna track that a little more directly with some studies, and there's some money set aside for that." As far as my office, in the near future, there'll be a comment period on that, probably a year away, and then soon there'll be testimony and whatnot. That's something I look forward to. I've never testified in front of the USDA. Doesn't mean I would get to, but I've never had the opportunity, so I look forward to that. And I guess I learned all this stuff from going to umpteen meetings in the past year. And every time that you heard that there was probably an issue with TSA and we were slowing down, checking through an airport, I will assure you that I was bidding on an airport. And we were getting pushed back. Back in November, a couple different times, TSA got shut down. I was in California trying to get back on something or trying to get to something. So spent a lot of time at airports, just kind of waiting for TSA to go through. But it's kind of neither here nor there. Spent time at IDFA to learn a little bit what the other side does. I've been a producer my whole life. And we go to IDFA, we learn what the processors do. And certainly they're, not to offend Mike here, but they're the other team from us, okay?
They are your
Partners, yes. I didn't say we're against them, but they're kind of on the other team. We're working towards the same goal. We're trying to get an awful lot of dairy products to the masses, and we're producing it and they're processing. So that certainly, partners probably would be the right term. If you think about like one of the Bears by the Packers, the end goal is for the team to get, for something to happen at the end, but maybe partners would be what you call them. Anywho, so certainly we look forward to that, representing at the USDA level, and look forward to kind of working with more and more people in the Queen of Quality or the All Jersey label. We have an insane amount of interest in our product. That's one thing I picked up from National Milk, from IDFA, from regenerative ag worlds, is there's interest in the dairy world and in whole dairy products. And then that's become something that almost we just have to get out of the way and let it happen. We have to allow the masses, the public, to buy our products and maybe to convey that a little better. I sit on the board with an awful lot of very intelligent people in the NAJ room who process their own, and all of them tell me kind of the same thing. We don't have any inventory, it's all selling. A lot of cheese plants, large cheese plants. When I went to the National Cheese Expo, told me the same thing. A lot of our cheese is just selling. We can't keep it in stock. It's moving to our caves or low. So we're moving it. We have huge demand. We have an awful lot of product. We're making a lot of milk. We're making more milk than almost ever before. And that's good because we have an awful lot of demand. And so as an industry, I think maybe for my office or our board's job is to just kind of convey that and help that happen. Because we do have, I don't think we have to continue to convince people to buy dairy products because it certainly seems like they're all interested in it. We just have to make sure what we have is available in the right form for what they want. So that I think is the challenge of both my office and our boards and our all of our members to make products that are certainly wanted by those individuals. I'm supposed to take questions, right? If anybody has any for me. Or I guess I speak again here in about an hour, so, or 2 hours, something like that.
Thank you, Greg. Next we have, I think Kristen's gonna do our JMS report.
I'm not as tall as Grady. Okay, good morning, everyone. I just wanted to kind of give everyone a quick overview of 2025 year in review for Jersey Marketing Service. We had gross sales of just over 2.4 million. That was on just shy of 2,000 head of cattle. That included cows, heifers, embryos, bulls, IVF sessions, a little bit of everything. Private treating now accounts for 80% of our business, or at least it did this past year. That's a pretty drastic shift from where we were a few years ago, and especially from where we were 10 years ago, when a high percentage of our sales were from public auction. Our average at sale or at private treating was $18.60. You may think that price seems a little bit low, but I will say that we included a lot of open heifers in what we sold privately last year. So public auctions, again, 20% of our total sales, and we averaged just over 4,700 for public auctions. A few highlights from the year. We had a really fantastic All-American sale. We had great support from our chairs and our committee, and breeders really stepped up to help make that sale really successful. So average was $75.81. We had a syndicate bowl this year, which was great after having a few years where we haven't had a syndicate bowl. So we sold Jack's All-Wins Chatham Martini, consigned by Tommy Allen, and he sold for just over $100,000, so that was fantastic. Pot of Gold sale was also another really great success, averaged $42.63. And I forgot to mention, in the All-American sale, we had 6 females that were over 10,000, so consistently strong sale. We also successfully relaunched the live sale, Top of the World sale at World Dairy Expo. So that sale has been a virtual sale for several years. So it was really great to get that back in a live format. We had a great audience, really good participation for our first year back in the live sale. So we're hoping to continue that. I just wanted to touch real quickly on market trends. We discussed this quite a bit in board meetings. So first of all, prices and demand remain strong. I don't think that's a surprise to any of you. It does vary region to region though. It seems like the strongest prices right now we're seeing are in the I-29 corridor, West Texas, Idaho, kind of that part of the country. I would say Midwest does not, Upper Midwest, East Coast probably do not see as strong of price reactions, maybe as the West Coast or that Central Plains market. Also, no surprise to you guys, beef on dairy has had a huge impact in the number of available replacements, and that's not going to slow down. So I would encourage you guys as breeders to continue to think about making some more Jersey female replacements because they are going to be in demand, I think, for several years. I have written down here added value for animals bred to beef, and I got to thinking, and I maybe should have said a discounted value for animals bred to conventional Jersey. It's really what we're seeing in the market right now. Demand for A2 animals has really increased. I feel like in past years, we had people that wanted 1 or 2 or 3 A2 cows, and now we're pretty frequently getting requests for a gooseneck up to 20-25 A2 animals at a time, and we've even had some export inquiries for larger groups of A2 animals. So I also think that A2 market is here to stay. Time will tell. Very limited supply of organic jerseys. So if you happen to have any of those are really a premium product. We had a lot of calls for organic jerseys this year, and they were very hard to find. And so if you had some available, they were fetching quite the premium price. Upper Midwest, people were basically selling their Jersey organic cull cows for $3,000 to $3,500. So it's pretty interesting dynamics with the organic market this past year. That market probably fluctuates more than the conventional market. And then just in closing, I would like to say thank you to all of our breeders who have supported Jersey Marketing Service year in and year out, both with reaching out to us when you have animals to sell and when you need to buy animals. You guys have really helped this organization stay strong, and our JMS sales have really helped guide us to some new reperts. There's been years where I've looked at the new reperts we've added in my territory, and almost all of them have been the result of new JMS buyers. So those connections have helped us build the association, keep the association strong. Moving forward, Friday, that's tomorrow already, I guess, we have National Heifer Sale coming up. We have catalogs here, so you guys can make sure to grab your National Heifer Sale catalog. This is the primary fundraiser for our youth association. So really appreciate everybody's support of this sale, and we're looking forward to finishing the year strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. Next I'll call on Neil for the Executive Secretary report.
Okay, thanks, Kristen. That was a good positive report. I'm still trying to get used to our field staff reporting back that heifers bred to beef bring more money. Man, that depressed the heck out of me when I first started hearing that. But it's the reality. And I never thought 10 years ago that we would be dealing with that today. And I say that realizing that it's helping keep you in business. And I realize that's a great cash crop right at the moment. So it's part of what's going on. And because we have the 50-year equity celebration all in about an hour here after, I think that's at 10. I'm gonna be a little bit brief, hopefully. Kim's probably going, yeah, right. She tried to cut out my slides, so I didn't have much material, that's. So National Jersey has officially a 68-year history. And that was a picture last year of the current board members that were present, and we had a really good time down in Lexington, Kentucky. And National Jersey, as you will witness firsthand here in about an hour, we have some pioneers in the room that you're going to hear from, who really plowed the course for National Jersey's purpose and helped achieve success, so that we can come here today and say, well, we have 50 years of the equity program. And I just want to say, I'll expand on this a little bit later, but for me, I believe that the equity program, which is 50 years old this year, served as a catalyst to help turn the Jersey breed around. If we had been just trying to change our cow genetically, which we were, we needed to desperately. Without the buy-in from the members, and that's where I'm coming from, I think the equity program gave breeders ownership of the solution. We were working, that pulled us together to work towards a common goal. And we needed to achieve turning the breed around productively, and we needed to achieve more equity in the milk market. And I'm certain we influenced it in a positive way through our efforts. Just a little bit of information to kind of back that up. In 1977, now equity was established in 76. In 77, now this is ME basis, right, Kim? Breed production levels were 11,000. We had a good butterfat percent, 4.8, but just 547 pounds of fat. We didn't even track, we didn't have pounds of protein at the time. Last year's average production is over 20,000 based on ME, 5.1, 1,059 of fat, 788 pounds of protein at 3.8 protein. What needs to continue to improve? Pounds of protein. It's in demand. If you're a breeder under the sound of my voice today, hear me. Listen. We need to breed more pounds of protein. Please attack that as we attacked these issues for the last 50 years. If we don't, we're not going to stay relevant. We have to do that. You're going to hear that again Saturday morning too, so get ready for it. Strategic objectives. This is a little more current. Of course, the first one should not change. We will continue to work for equity, to achieve equity in the marketplace, in all markets. That is our number one goal. But more short-term goals, this has changed in the last year. We had a good discussion yesterday in board meeting about these, and we feel like we need to put it out there that we want to do everything we can to help achieve getting 2% and whole milk or higher quality levels of milk back in the school meal programs. So that'll be an effort. We've talked to Stan. You're going to hear from Stan Irwin here in a little bit with DMI, and I think there's some materials out there that they can. We were asking, well, what can we do and how can we do it? We've got to get organized there. Also related to that, obviously, we'd like to make it more convenient, more readily available for kids, and we're going to work. And this one, I don't know, the parameters and rules might be a little bit more challenging, but we're going to try to work towards seeing more vending machines in schools and other public youth events. And then building strong relationships with political allies and other partners in, like IDFA, members and so forth. That is a constant. We continue to work towards that. And we have to continue to maintain a seat at the table in order to have a voice in the room. And there's a lot of change in the last few years that maybe our vision is not quite the same as some other dairy organizations, but I think the common goal is always to achieve more equity in the milk marketplace. And also another common goal is we always want to have high quality products in front of the consumer. Another discussion we had was we think it's time to revitalize and possibly redesign. So we're going to do an extensive review of the All Jersey and Queen of Quality labels, which are trademarked still by National All Jersey, and make sure that we can do all we can to make Jersey products become the requested brand in as many markets as possible. Also want to take this opportunity, and we'll get more of this in the celebration, but we sincerely thank all equity members for your support, any previous time during the 50 years and currently. And because you are willing to provide financial support, we're able to continue to work on your behalf. As I said, there's a lot of people that you're going to hear from here in a couple hours that I'll just tell it like it is. I'm quite intimidated by their knowledge of milk marketing. You're going to hear from some experts, and some of them probably giggling back there, but that's the truth. We have some people who have worked for NAJ that are present today that are going to talk to you later, and I'm excited to hear from them again. We're glad to have them here. So for now, I'll stop. Thank you again for your support.
Okay, I would like to call for a motion to approve all of the officers' reports. Second. All approved, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Thank you. I'd like to call on John for a report from the Tellers Committee on our elections.
After counting the ballots received, the following candidate received the majority of votes cast in the contest. For District 4, Donna Phillips from Wisconsin. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Don. Now I'd like to call on Alan Chipman for at-large appointments in NAJ.
Yes, there's currently two at-large positions. One, Corey is finishing right now, and he's going to be reappointed to fill that position. We will still have one position that is open. So, still looking for somebody quality to put into that position.
Thank you, Alan. I would like to ask for Donna to stand up to one of our new elected members and next I would like to call, we've got one director that's retiring, John Marcoux, and I want to be the first to, I knew John before I got on the NAJ board, and enjoyed talking to him. I picked his brain every time I saw him because he grazed like I did, and he started processing before I did. But I really enjoyed being on the board with John, and consider you a friend, and enjoy talking to you every time I see you. And John's one of those guys, when we have a meeting and you get on a topic and you kind of get off in left field on the subject, John always pulls you back to where we need to be. So I appreciate that about him too. So I guess, are you gonna? Okay, Jonathan, you wanna come up? All right.
year that I was first elected to president, John was also elected to NAJ. And so we had the opportunity to go to the offices in Ohio to get our kind of new director's introduction to the association and such. And I'd met John before that, but that gave me an opportunity to spend some time with him and really get to know him and then serve with him over the next several years. And it's been a blessing for me and for the association to work with John. He is someone who loves the Jersey cow, he loves Jersey breeders, and loves to serve each of you to help make things better. It's been a great opportunity for me to work with him, to learn from him, and watch how he serves. And as was mentioned, in our meetings, he's usually quiet, but when he's ready to speak, you know he's going to get to the point and keep us on track. And that's just a great example to me. And I've just really appreciated the opportunity to work with him over the last several years and look forward to in the future, just in a different way. But thank you, John, for your friendship and your example for me. Thank you.
Jonathan, you just stay up here if you want. We're gonna have a photo op. So I gotta say a little bit, second everything that's been said, and I would sum up, Mr. John Marcoux will be missed on that board as the steady, loyal, dedicated director. No surprises, always could count on him to pull us back to, well, what are we wasting time talking about that for? It's not really relevant. Let's get to the point. And I always appreciated that. And then on a lighter side, we had some of the best cheese curds you could put in your mouth from their processing. And he always, he and his wife always brought a lot of goodies along the way, and we certainly enjoyed those. Appreciate, John, your dedication, service to the organization, and your passion for the Jersey breed. So, would you come up, please? And you can make any comments you would like.
Well, I told him yesterday at the board meeting I'd try to keep it under 30 minutes, so. Appreciate the kind words everyone has said. It's been a joy and a privilege to serve not only you, but to serve on the board, to meet, make new friends from board members, get to know them. It's really been an honor to serve. It took me about 6 months to convince Donna to run. But once I did, I felt the position was going to be fully taken care of. So Donna, thank you, and we look forward to having you on the board. I think in my 8 years on the board, we've had a complete turnover of board members. So that's kind of a rarity in that amount of time. A little bit of our history, not that anybody's interested, I feel like you tell it. Our family immigrated in 1841 and they brought a Jersey cow with them. And I know every generation has had Jersey cows since then, so it's hopefully the next generation will continue, and we can still be processing and make good quality products for years to come. So again, thank you all. Thank you, Corey, Jonathan, Neil, for the kind words. It's, like I say, it's been a pleasure to serve and serve you and to serve the district board, and we look forward to the great things that the Breed Association has to come in the future. Thank you very much.
So John, thank you for your service, and we have one of you guys grab that gift for him. We have a plaque for John with an gold Jersey seal, in appreciation for your service on the board, and I think we have a gift that you might like to put in your office. That's my favorite, the front view, I don't know why I just love it. You probably can see those big brown eyes. Want to move over there for a minute? We're a little too wide. Okay, so, I mentioned earlier, you're gonna hear from this guy, so, it's my honor to introduce to you, Vice President of Industry Relations for DMI, Stan Irwin. You all are familiar with Stan, he's been being here, with us several years now. And, we're gonna hear what's going on with DMI and what the strategy for the future is. Please make Stan welcome.
Well, first off, thanks to Neil, Pam, Alan Chittenden, Kristen, for the opportunity again to address you guys and bring you up to date on things. Before we even got started, a couple of things came up that I'll just address right away, Neil, and that was one, working through the National Dairy Council. You know, we did a lot of the nutritional science research that was, well, we can't lobby, we can't get in the policy arena, we can provide the science that helps support and result in the Healthy Milk in Schools Act. And then we've got some information that kind of sets the stage. It's not gonna be like waving a wand. We're gonna have to get co-ops, distributors, and others involved. And we're doing some pilots now to look at making the business case for this. But what can you all do? It's probably never been more important for farmers to be involved in acting in their schools. So there's some fact sheets, there's some tools that, Neil, I'll make sure, Chris, I'll make sure you guys get and you can distribute to your team, because that comes again from our National Dairy Council. A couple of other things, just really quickly. You know, Corey, you addressed, you know, the seismic shifts we've seen in components over the last couple of years. And I mentioned it a year ago. If nobody has seen it, Corey Geiger with CoBank did a paper that really looked at that study and those shifts over the last 15 years. It also looked at what's happening with processing. So if you haven't seen that, that's a real good read. It kind of sets the foundation of what is occurring. You know, I was talking with Cornell. I think the other thing is really quickly, if you haven't heard, we're in the midst of Barbara O'Brien, who has served as 5 years as our CEO. She is retiring. That was kind of her plan. So we're, for the first time in 35 years, we're looking at a full search. We're working with ZRG, a global search firm, to look at candidates to fill that position. There are 90 already. So I think what's the process? Our chairs of National Dairy Board, United Dairy Industry Association, EMI, plus officers, they will look at those candidates, and the plan and the time frame is to arrive at one name to put forward to the DMI board in September. Then based on that, you know, the new CEO would be introduced, and the transition would occur at the October National Milk Producers Federation and National Dairy Board meeting. So I think those are kind of a couple of things we talked about. You know, Grady really talked about the demand being good and product availability. And probably never before have we seen as dramatic consumer shifts as we have seen right now. It's very positive for dairy, but your point we've got to make, and we've always said this, we've got to make dairy available when, where, and how consumers want it. It's a different consumer. They want it different. Protein is just half the story. So what I want to kind of do is take a look at, and I've not done this before, but what is the next 2 to 3 year strategic plan of the checkoff? And we do this in concert with, our state and regional organizations. If Stacy were here, I would acknowledge Midwest Dairy. But what it really looks at is, and I think this is something that's probably overlooked sometimes or not understood about DMI, and that is the commitment to a 2 to 3 year strategic plan. It rolls over, what's your last year, you learn from it, what are you gonna look at going to the next year? But it's also underpinned by a commitment to strategy, but a commitment to data and science and the information. We've never had more data, and I think a lot of organizations, a lot of people underestimate the world-class scientific research, the world-class consumer research, our ability to, again, look at the narratives that are now taking place in social media, particularly with moms and teens. It's a very interesting time, but then taking a look at using those. So I'm going to kind of run through what our shared priorities are and some of the key areas that we're going to be looking at. And we're challenging, what we've done in the past. Partnerships are always going to be good. We're not going to move away from the core, but we look at health and wellness as the next frontier and where dairy needs to be. That's the exciting part of this. So let me see, I've got the clicker here, I just don't want to hit eject. I think those are really the main things I wanted to look at. Yeah, and I'll get to the others here in a minute. Really quickly, a real quick overview of current consumption and demand. And I think Grady addressed this a little bit, but in total, 238 billion pounds of milk consumed. That's an all-time record. Then you can take a step back and you look at the domestic, and then you look at the exports. Those together. And there was a time when U.S. DEC was created, U.S. Dairy Export Council in 1995, exports were 2 to 3%. And it was what we had to get rid of. We weren't providing a product that met the needs of our global consumers and global partners. So then we look at retail. So 9 of 12 retail categories are up. And I think you'll look at this and probably not be surprised when you look at culture. You look at whipping cream, nutritional beverages, cottage cheese, yogurt. So this is strong. This is a 52-week comparison of a year ago. So I'll keep moving. The other thing, so what we've done, we do every year, is we bring all aspects of the company together to sit there and say, okay, let's look at what the data is telling us. Let's look at assumptions that were potentially made a year ago. What do we need to be looking at? So you look at state of retail. You look at the state of dairy categories of food service, state of the consumer, state of sustainability, DMI's annual food and beverage trends report. There was also a report that we did looking at GLP-1s and protein. And then always something that our team does, state of the farm, state of the industry, and then dairy markets today, which I've kind of just covered. So that's the strategic commitment when we bring everybody together and then say, okay, what's next? The other thing that I've realized over time is I get to see a lot of you. But as I go to meetings, we've got a lot of talent that farmers don't get to necessarily experience. And these are just a few of them. Madeline Daly, who leads up Strategic Insights for us, a lot of this data, the reporting, working with Circana, who tracks the information. Katie Brown, President of the National Dairy Council. Will Laus, SVP of Global Affairs with the U.S. Dairy Export Council. Paul Zeminski, it's a long title, but Group EVP, Wellness, Innovation, and Business Development. He's a bright guy, and he's the one I spoke before about looking at molecules. And then Heather Oldani. And Grady, I'm kind of like you. I've challenged her a little bit. I said, "You sure you want to call on your business affairs?" I'm kind of sweet. So when we look at the 3 shared priorities, so across all of our business units and all of our people, what are the shared priorities that we're going to work on together? And again, working with the states and regions, because while we can set the course nationally, they are the ones, we all know how regional the business is, that they then implement the plan locally. So the first shared priority, increase volume for beverages, culture, and cheese and key channels. The next priority, dairy is seen as a preferred health and wellness product. And then the last one, U.S. dairy industry is visibly and vocally supported by key opinion leaders as a sustainable source of great nutrition. All right, I'm not going to go through every one of them, but if we look at that first shared priority, demand is increasingly going to be driven by function, with protein as the growth engine. I'd like to sign right over there. Protein pull creates milk fat imperative. You can address that. You know, we're looking at that. Okay, there was a butterfat summit bringing people together to say, okay, this is a shift. How do we need to look at responding to it? Cheese and food service opportunity to diversify. You know, just don't live with our legacy partners. Where do we need to go to next? And then capitalize on momentum to steer growth at retail. You saw the strong, I'll show you some strong retail data here in a little while. Health and wellness product. What's that driven by? Rise in weight balance and metabolic health among consumers. Increased focus on ingredient transparency and simplicity. Dairy's got a heck of a story there. We're seen as a comfort food. I mean, we need to do a better job. Leverage audiences. That wasn't true 3 or 4 years ago. There's been a fundamental, not only in the media, but in how people online. And that's one of the things that Heather does, is she tracks the online conversations to look at what are the narratives and when do we enter those narratives. So I'm going to keep moving. So demand driven by function with protein is a structural growth engine. Protein-led formats drive categories. So as I look at this, you know, you look at lactose-free. That's a category that is a $7 billion category. It grew by 5%. You see the growth in the units. Low sugar claims, 8%. You know, growth, $51 billion segment. Again, over 1 million unit growth. Then over here, high or grams of protein. And I clarified that. Well, what's that mean, high? There are some claims you see that it's 10% more protein. Others just make the claim it's high in protein. But again, that category is again $59 billion. It's grown by 3%. And then overall dairy aisle of retail, we've seen a 10.2% are now making protein claims. I don't know if any of you seen it. I think this came up at our meeting in Reno. Pop-Tarts with protein. Mints with protein. I think you brought that up. I mean, so somebody said, yeah. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Again, I think we've known this. Protein pull creates milk fat parity. You know, what are the implications for U.S. dairy? Working butterfat strategies complement our current plan. Exports, international partnerships, food service innovation programs, support retail new product innovation, assess and identify key product areas, butter, cream, and hydrous milk fat, with protein. Implications for U.S. dairy. So we looked at and took a step back. Some of our critical areas have been a little flat. Cheese and burgers, you see they're declining. You know, Mexican, pizza, flat. So cheese. So what do we look at there? Just rather stay there. What can we do that's going to be new? What can we do that's going to grow the categories? We want to continue to support pizza. with focus on proven strategies. Again, we're not gonna ever abandon that dominant strategy. Diversify, consider investing in cheese innovation and growing cuisine types, Mexican for one. And then specialty beverages and snacks are huge. This is a little bit of an eye chart, but I think the key is look to what would be your far left. Look at retail. Look at the growth of dairy at retail. Now, the one that I kind of make a point, and this sneaks up on people, kind of like the people that thought we'd always be selling big cameras like you have versus phones that replace them. Liquor is way down. Why? Fundamental change in what people want to consume or don't consume it at all. So it's those things you don't want to let sneak up on you.
What's wrong with that?
Well, nothing. I kind of like my bourbon.
Well,
It just means some of it's a little more available than it used to be. Okay, that's a sidebar. You know, so again, I really like this slide because new growth requires dual lane strategies. We've got to look where we've been, but we've got to look at where we're going to go. So protein growth, product categories. Protein growth with milk fat monetization. Defend the legacy programs, but diversify in growing areas. Again, some of the legacy programs, McDonald's, Domino's, Taco Bell is growing like crazy. They're growing in the beverage arena. McDonald's, by their own admission, has lacked innovation over the last 3 to 4 years, but they are sitting back down with us to talk about innovation. And you never want to really walk from a McDonald's. 80% of, you look at the volume the customers are served, 80% of the menu has dairy. But we want to drive innovation. They can't just stay where they are. Health and wellness, support the core. Build a runway to integrate emerging priorities. You know, when you talk about the dairy aisle, think about dairy outside the traditional aisle. Think about, it's not going to be a CVS, but as a health and wellness or dairy as medicine. Where can we be in the future, particularly with some of the work we're doing in the milk molecule arena, lactoferrin, tryptophan. And then farm consolidation. We've got industry-wide demand, and then from the job I have, looking at tailored support to scale and niche operations. You're going to continue to see the scale grow, but there are plenty of opportunities for niche operations. How do we support them? Get ready to close. I should have changed this slide. I hate it when people use reverse type out of a weak color. Anyway, that's the whole publisher to me. But I think the key is GLP-1s, 15% penetration in households. And now we've got pills for the people that are a little squeamish about a needle. It's going to continue to grow. And again, what's the solution to GLP-1 when people start to, and we've got some friends, and I'm all for it being a healthy and weight control choice, but we've got some friends that I've watched them, what do they call it, Ozempic face? They're wasting away. Well, they're not consuming the protein, you know, and to build the muscle mass and to keep them healthy. So this is a great opportunity for us. You know, protein, fiber, healthy fat, small portions, carbs, saturated fat, sugar, full spectrum performance, and then gut-led metabolic health. We're also working on a second contract 5-year period of research with Mayo Clinic. That's going to be really exciting because it's really generic, moving from treatment to tailored personal care programs. So, final, the teens, and again, I'm not going to read this slide to you, but you can see protein, healthy fats, fewer ingredients, simple, natural, whole foods. But you can see the yogurt, the parents, the teens, that's just a trend that's coming together for all of us. So, with that, you might have been saying something, but this I've enjoyed this, but this will be the last conference that I speak at. You've seen it in the industry. 24 to 26. I'm not a CEO, but CEOs of businesses, whether it's co-op, processors, our dairy promotion, your organization, it's a lot of it's demographics. There's just changes that are occurring, so new leadership changes. So I've been, and I know you met Marty, so I've been working with a gentleman I've been working with for 18 years from Dairy Max. Tremendous understanding, tremendous fire in his belly for farmers, gets it. So just transitioning work with him. There's not a formal announcement, but I know I won't be here next year. You're likely to hear somebody else. But, you know, I've been blessed with a 34-year career serving farmers, first in the magazine business, you know, last 18 with DMI. Yeah. Thank you all. It's been my pleasure, sir. Uh-oh. You're in trouble. That won't be the first time.
Dan, are those tryptophan gummies, are they coming to the marketplace, or?
They're out there.
I got a little girl, we
I had
shoved
a
it.
test in my briefcase the other day, and the TSA guys had some questions about it. What kind of gummy is this?
So, he just mentioned 18 years.
It doesn't, when you're having fun.
Yeah, so,
This isn't a
for, I don't know how long, DMI's been a sponsor at our annual meetings, several years. And this is just a little token of appreciation for that, for DMI. We appreciate making that happen, or seeing that done.
Well, thank you, and it will continue to happen.
Hope so. This is more personal. Because you told us you're gonna be retiring, we thought you needed a dirty cow.
I do. I got a place for it, because I think most of you know, I've always had a heart for this organization. Your passion, what you've done with the cow, that nourishes and feeds our families.
So y'all can see, we're gonna have a nice presence on one of his walls somewhere.
You are, I guarantee
So
it.
the caption says, in appreciation for your many years of service to DMI and to the dairy industry.
Well, and likewise, my friend, my appreciation for the work with you and your team and your leadership. And you obviously have turned it over into great hands, Kristen.
Oh, yeah.
You can count on our support.
It's in good hands.
All right, thank you all.
At this time, I'd like to ask if there's any old business we need to cover. You got anything? Call for any business from the floor. Next we have announcements. I think Joe was gonna take care of that at Joe's room.
I don't think he's in here.
Anybody?
We can improvise. Kristen's always ready.
I'm ready enough to read off the screen for you guys, so. All right, quick overview of today. Obviously, we're already in our annual meeting. Next up, which should be starting very shortly, about 10 minutes, we have our Clean and Quality Dairy Bar right outside our door out here. So go get some good dairy products. Then at 10 o'clock, we have our NAJ celebration right back here in this room, celebrating 50 years of equity. 11:30, we have our roundtable on farm diversification and processing. Which room is that in? That's in here also, all right? That makes it easy. And then at 1 o'clock, we're gonna have our Young Jersey Breeders Luncheon right next door this way. Next up for this afternoon, buses are gonna be departing at 2:45 for Bass Pro tours. And we have the 5:30 cheese social, again, that's over at Bass Pro. 6 o'clock dinner and 7 o'clock research auction. All that stuff is up online, so if you wanna check it out now, so you can decide what you're gonna bid on, how you're gonna spend your money tonight, that would be great. Blake, Vicky, anything else from today? Benny's got an announcement too.
Get off the buses at Bass Pro, and do not plan to go to Wonders of Wildlife. Do not take a ticket, because we are paying per ticket for that part of it. So if you're not going to Wonders of Wildlife, don't take a ticket for that part.
Thanks, Benny. Yeah, so if you're not gonna do the tours of Wonders of Wildlife, don't take a ticket. And Vicky's got something else?
If you're driving and not riding a bus, please stop at the registration desk and Janice will have a ticket for you. If you're going to the Wild West, if you're just going to dinner, you do not need a ticket to get in basketball. So if you're driving, if you want to go to the Wonders of Wildlife, make sure you stop and get a ticket and purchase it.
And Blake's got one announcement too.
And then at 10 a.m., we also have Wonders of Wildlife is doing a youth activity across the hall. They're bringing in an animal to meet all of the youth at 10 a.m.
It's very tempting, isn't it? Any questions on anything for today? Name tags, don't forget your name tags.
Philip, you going to the Wonders of the Wild or
If there's
Bass Pro?
nothing else, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Before we close the meeting, I would like to comment on the vending machine proposal for the board that's working towards this. We've been through the mill with that in Vermont. And that's not a reason for you folks not to pursue this, but one of the biggest aspects and downfall of that project in Vermont was keeping those machines stocked. We could not find people in the schools that were willing to stock those machines and keep them going. They're all in the dump right now. That project was probably 10 years ago now. The other one was repairs to the machines. We could not find people that were willing to keep those machines up. So those are just 2 points to look at if you pursue that project. Thank you.
I have a question back for Paul. So that's some of the reasons that I said that's a different set of parameters, and we realize there's a lot of challenges with it, maybe even laws in some cases. So what's the answer? Is there a better, you guys have some experience with it, is there a better alternative to put the milk in front of the youth?
I would respond, Neil, with that is be physically in the schools. Be there at lunchtime, standing by the dispensing that's going on during the lunch line.
So our logic there was to make it more convenient for them somehow.
Right. And we had a little bit of success with that. That was another thing, was kids were not spending the money to buy that milk in those vending machines. So that was another aspect that was a downfall with that. But, and I would say too, the one thing we found was getting milk in those breakfast lines.
Yeah, majority of the schools now serve breakfast.
Right.
And so that's why we worded it meal program, because it's more than just lunch. And,
Right.
One more thing is make really good friends with the cook.
Yeah.
well, we realize there's hurdles that we probably don't think about. There's certainly issues with school administration being under contract with suppliers, those kind of things we'll have to work through. But we started this conversation with the question, what can we do to help? Because we think that surely there's some opportunity to get involved and help push. Maybe specifically vending machines is not the answer, but.
And I think right now, the focus should be, it came out in course, is focusing on getting the whole milk piece into the schools and helping the food service staff do that. Because the other thing is, there's an extra cost to that. And these schools.
Oh, yeah, it's not gonna be cheaper.
Right, exactly. And these schools are under tight budgets, and that might be a way to help, is get that going with a little bit of financial support and getting the industry to work and getting that whole milk into the schools right now. It should be the focus.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you. Any more comments before we adjourn? And for all the board members, we will have a reorganizational meeting directly after this meeting. But, so with that, do I have a motion to adjourn? Second. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it.
See you back at 10 o'clock.
You know how every time somebody says Jersey, mate, you just assume there's more work for you?